Final round coverage of the PGA Championship at Valhalla. Xander Schauffele, your leader by a stroke over Bryson DeChambeau, here for par on 5. Drains that. So he maintains his one-shot lead, but Bryson DeChambeau making a charge up the board on Sunday. He's at 3 under, driving the ball like the monster that he is. He sits one shot back. Viktor Hovland's making way up the board as well. Hovland is playing some really good golf on this day. 2 under for the round. He's at 15 under alongside Shane Lowry and Colin Morikawa. All right, let's welcome in golf analyst Michael Breed for more on what we're seeing out at Valhalla. We've been kind of watching and then just kind of commenting on kind of what we're seeing. And so let's go down the leaderboard a little bit here and just kind of go one by one and pick at these guys. Xander Schauffele, Michael, he's struggling to hit fairways today, but boy, his ability to recover is 10 out of 10. And he's found a stroke on the putting green as well.
Well, he's always been a very, very good putter. Now, this hasn't been his best year putting, but prior to that, this is a routinely top 15, top 10 putter on the PGA Tour. Great touch, great control. His final round scoring average has been a little bit of a problem, but he looks under control. And this week, coming into this final round, he'd only made 1 bogey and 1 double bogey. The consistency of the ball striking has been fabulous, and I expect him to continue to do that. And I think Victor's the one who's going to set the chase. I mean, this is a guy who I believe is going to get to probably 18, maybe to 20, and the question is who can get to that spot? Whether it's Morikawa, Lowry, you don't know, but I think that number, if Xander gets to 20 under par, he's going to be carrying home a Wanamaker.
Well, and that's the thing is that, you know, and what we've seen from Xander over the last couple of days is that somebody gets to him and then he just pulls back in front again. It's just that consistency with what you're saying. He's just able to kind of just, as soon as somebody catches him, he just manages to sneak a little bit ahead, and that's sort of what he's done so far. Obviously, there is a great group of golfers that is behind him giving chase, and I have to ask you about what we're seeing from Bryson DeChambeau here on Sunday, because he is just murdering the ball off the tee.
192 miles an hour ball speed. I mean, that's what's the speed that you need to take off in a plane. It's got to be right around there. This guy is just destroying the ball. But the other thing that's really curious about it is he's hitting it rather straight. And so all of a sudden it's a huge advantage when you can shorten these holes the way he has shortened them. And then when you're hitting wedges and 9-irons into the greens, all of a sudden now it's a big advantage because the descent angle of the shot, the steeper it is, the closer you can land that golf ball to the hole, and it's not going to spin away. So if he can manage to continue to drive the ball the way he's driving the ball, he can put some real pressure on Xander, and he can do it in so many different ways, not just because of what he's doing with the ball striking, but also because he's in a lead pack. He's ahead of Xander. So at that point, he can put some pressure on Xander and force Xander to almost think he's got to do more than he may need to have to do. And so it's going to be very fun to see what the players in front of Xander do to Xander to force his hand a little bit.
Well, and Bryson, I mean, he's got three birdies in his first 7 holes, and I mean, on the green, you know, he's found a way to kind of dial it in. He had a putt that I think we're gonna see it from here. He is from off the green, but I mean, coming so close here, and then managing to find that line and put it in, and you can tell that he's certainly feeling something today.
Well, it's the emotion. Now, let's not forget, this guy has not played a lot of golf in front of crowds like this. And so when you take a guy who's walked away from the PGA Tour, he's joined the LIV Tour, and all of a sudden he's getting that emotional energy, that charge from the individuals that are on the grounds here, the spectators that are here at Valhalla for the PGA Championship, it has an emotional edge, and he hasn't played with that emotional edge. And one of the things that I worry about for him is because of that, how is he able to control his adrenaline? So when you start to come down the stretch here, adrenaline is a big factor, and being able to control distance is paramount. And what you worry about when you get adrenaline is you start hitting the ball a little bit farther than you expect. And if you go long on these greens, particularly with some of these hole locations late in the round, you go long on these greens, now it puts a lot of pressure on your short game. And that also, too, is one thing that I worry about for Bryson. If he can keep his emotions in check, I think it's going to be a really nice Sunday for him.
Well, did manage to par the par 5 and just hit a really nice shot out of the bunker as he makes his way through the 7th hole. Let's talk about Shane Lowry. Any doubts about his game? I mean, he had the 62 yesterday, was within a couple of inches of setting the low round we've ever seen in a major, but manages to finish with 62, ties it. There were some doubts about whether he could carry that over into Sunday, but those are quieted earlies. I mean, he's had birdies on 2 of his first 4 holes here, now through 6 holes with the 2 birdies. So, I mean, Lowry's playing good golf today as well, and it looks like he's going to be sticking around near the top.
This is a guy who's one of the best ball strikers on the PGA Tour, one of the best iron players this year on the PGA Tour. I think he's 5th in strokes gained approach. But the area that you worry about with Shane Lowry is in his putting. Now, I know he had an incredible day of putting, 160 feet of putts made yesterday. It was his best day putting in his entire career. But for the year, he's 168 in strokes gained putting. So the question is, do you expect him to be able to keep that up? I think if he takes advantage of the par 5s, relies on his iron play, doesn't get too aggressive, if he can get the ball into the right spots on the green, give himself some easier putts, he's going to have a chance. But the question then goes back to this: can he get to that 20 under number that I think is going to be the winning score? And to that end, can he make those putts late in the round? He's not one of the longest players on the tour, but he is one of the most consistent ball strikers. Plays at a slightly lower apex than a guy like Bryson DeChambeau. Of course, everybody does, but he plays at a slightly lower apex than the most of the players on the PGA Tour. And so the question will become, is he going to be able to make those putts late with a history that supports that it's not his strength?
Scottie Scheffler, one of the guys that we were obviously surprised to see what happened to him Friday. Surprised to see the way he played on Saturday. Maybe a little bit of a comeback down to earth as things kind of caught up to him. But boy, oh boy, he doesn't have that round yesterday. And we're talking about Scottie Scheffler at the top of the leaderboard here because, Michael, he's back to regularly scheduled Scheffler at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's not a lot of people that said, okay, Scotty, here's the deal. You're going to get arrested, put in handcuffs, come back and play one of your best rounds in a major championship ever. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine, right? And then, oh, by the way, Ted Scott, your caddy, isn't going to be able to be with you on Saturday. Let's not forget that and the effect that that would have. I just think that what we had was such an irregular situation for the world number 1. And for the first time in a long time, 42 rounds he had played at par or better. Most recently, he has this very challenging day yesterday on Saturday in the 3rd round, despite the amount of time that he had to prepare. I think his body just kind of shut down a little bit, but he's back to doing what we expect him to do. Made a bogey at the first hole, and since then 7 birdies, and he still has some opportunities remaining, including the par 5 18th hole to get even more. This is what we're used to seeing out of Scottie Scheffler, and it's no surprise that he's having the day on this Sunday that he is having.
Yeah, it's just the same with Scottie. It's just, you're going to run out of holes here on this day, and that's pretty much what he's looking at. But in terms of the round, one of the best rounds of the day, sitting there at 6 under par. One last, we have to ask about Justin Thomas, the hometown favorite. There was hope for him coming into this round that maybe he could make a little noise, but only 1 under so far, and it looks like here's another guy that is going to run out of holes as this day progresses.
Well, he's another guy, the typical, and this is the story here at Valhalla. What you're going to see is all the best ball strikers coming to the top, and that's exactly what JT is, one of the best iron players and has been through his career, absent of last year. And so what you see is a guy that's also playing with a lot of emotion, the hometown crowd, and he makes the cut, plays really nicely, puts himself in a nice position going into Sunday. But I just think he's a little bit too far back at the start of the day, and what you see is a guy that is putting some pressure on iron play to try to go out there and make some birdies. He hasn't been able to do it, doesn't take advantage of that par 5 7th hole, which everybody is taking advantage of, and then he doesn't take advantage of the par 5 10th, which is a big miss. And so what do you say that he's got for the rest of this round? I think what he's going to do is he's just going to play a really nice round of golf. This is a confidence builder, but I don't think this is a round of golf that he felt like in order for him to have a chance to win, he would have to go out there and shoot 60 or 61, and I just don't think that's in the cards for a guy that's been struggling with his putting, not just this year, but for a couple of years now. A very, very solid ball striker and a nice round of golf he's orchestrating without making a bogey. He's just not making the birdies.
Yeah, and that's what the guys were saying earlier, that it was going to take a very low round from him, a hometown favorite, to get this crowd. Certainly, they've been behind him all weekend, but to get them in a frenzy and get him near the top of the leaderboard. Michael Breed, always good to have you on, our golf analyst, updating us on the final round of the PGA Championship, which, of course, you can watch over on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus. Just take a look at the leaderboard. Quick update. Xander Schauffele still just a one-shot lead, but now has Bryson DeChambeau and Victor Hovland a single shot back. Shane Lowry and Colin Morikawa, who is in the group with Xander, sitting at 15 under.